Hey friends, how's it going? Ash here. Welcome back to Gents. Hope you're well. So today I got an email, an interesting one. Somebody asking me to do an interview for a magazine where the topic is the rise of the influencer fragrance bro. And I was like, I'm the bro. Oh, all right. But yeah, they're wanting to interview me about this sudden rise of fragrance bro influencers. Hey, we share the same hobby. Don't talk about that. That's fucking weird, man. Losers. And in the interview, one of the things they were like, oh, I'd like to ask you, what makes a good date night fragrance? Which to me doesn't sound like the most interesting interview ever, but I figured like, let's go ahead and do a video about sexy fragrances that would be great on a date that have been released over the past 5 years or so. So more modern releases that are absolutely fantastic for those date night situations. All of them will be linked in the description below. Let's get it kicked off with this monstrosity. Invictus Victory from Paco Rabanne. Oh, that's right, they dropped the Paco now. They're just like Rabanne. They're just Rabanne now. But this was back when Paco was still part of Rabanne. So, like I alluded to, a bit of a monstrosity because I went ahead and got the 200 milliliter bottle because it was a better deal. 200 milliliters basically just looks like the normal bottle stretched and made much less unaesthetically pleasing. Also, Invictus Victory Elixir, fantastic as well, but Victory, a little bit cheaper, a little bit easier to find at discounters. You got a lot of vanilla here, tonka as well, really sweet, warm, appealing, has kind of an effervescent vibe to it, like a sparkle to it, a carbonated beverage kind of opening to an extent. Olibanum in here, pink pepper, lemon off the top, and that use of vanilla here is what really does it for this one. Of course, that's a note that people love in general, and the way that it's used here, that you know, that bubbly feel that it has, it gives it like a playful nature, but then it still has this really inviting, sexy feel to it as well. So we're gonna kick it off, Victory, and move on from there to the Most Wanted. Toffee, amberwood, and cardamom, some of the notes in this one. And it's a really modern, sexy date night kind of fragrance. And by that, I mean, it shares similarities with a few of the other really popular scents out there right now. The one that you're going to be able to draw the closest parallel to is going to be Stronger With You and the other fragrances in the Stronger With You line. And we've actually got one of those coming up a little bit later. As far as modern date night fragrances, this is going to be one of your absolute best bets in my opinion. You get great performance. You can find it at discounters for a little bit less, but even at full retail, it's not crazy expensive compared to a lot of fragrances that have come out here lately. And it also just has that it factor. You know, it's one of those scents that always commands attention, always has a good reaction from people. So the Most Wanted, that's an easy one. Before we go any further, there is a newsletter in the description. It does not cost anything, but if you drop your email in there, if there are any big sales that pop up, I'll let you guys know. If there's anything that I see that catches my eye that I think is really, really, really good, I'll let you know. And I'll also do the occasional written review that I'll make as part of that newsletter as well. I'm not gonna spam you or anything like that, but if you want to sign up for that, it's in the description. And in case you haven't caught on yet, these fragrances are really that typical date night style. They've got a sweet nature to them for the most part. You know, they're very alluring, inviting fragrances, addictive, the type of scent that you smell, you go in for another smell, go in for another smell. But that does mean that the majority of these are gonna work better in fall and winter time, and definitely in the evening. Up next, Lalique White in Black. Now this is one that sometimes is not available at discounters, sometimes it's sold out. If that's the case, I would be a little bit patient, wait for it to pop up at discounters once again, because you can get that for a pretty good price. If you buy from like Joma Shop Fragrance Buy, something like that, you're gonna be looking at probably 50 bucks in that range. Maybe a little less, maybe a little more, but right around there, which is still a pretty big savings from full retail. And this one is really good for a multitude of reasons. One reason is it's gonna be a little more under the radar for your average person. You know, they're not gonna really know about Lalique White and Black, right? It also smells a bit similar to Parfums de Marly Layton, which is another good thing because Layton is known for being one of the kings of men's niche fragrances as far as fall and winter time goes. Layton is a monster. And it's also way more expensive than this. Yeah, that's another nice positive, good job. You know, it really helps set this off, magnetic cap. That wouldn't have happened if this had a magnet. So with this one, you've got a lot of notes. You've got vanilla in here, Tolu balsam, you have woody notes, you've got cardamom, you have lavender. Also a little olibanum and citrus off the top gives you a slight incensey touch when you first spray this one on. Super sexy, really classy, great for fall and winter and the evenings. It's got like a little gimmick with the bottle too, which is just 100% straight up gimmick, where they give you like a little white pencil with this, and you're supposed to use this like a chalkboard, and you can design your bottle in whichever way you want. It makes it so unique. It doesn't work with a crap. The pencil doesn't really ride on here very well, and it's just ultra gimmicky, but there's that too. Let's get tacky. Let's get tacky. 1 million elixir. This one has got vanilla, rose, tonka, and apple as some of the notes in the scent, and it might remind you a little bit of like bits and pieces of Invictus Victory Elixir, some of the Stronger With You fragrances once again. And even though that's like the second one that I brought up that I've said has a little Stronger With You aspect to it, it's one of those deals where yes, there's like a little bit of inspiration taken from that line in here, but if you spray 1 million elixir on side by side with Stronger With You Absolutely, something like that, or Invictus Victory Elixir, you're not gonna be confused and be like, oh, that's the same thing. No, they all have very clearly their own style to them, their own scent, right? But it's one of those deals where you can see one was inspired by another. And this is a grower. 1 million elixir has grown on me a bunch. This one has a really, really pleasant vanilla, actually. The rose gives it a nice, like sophisticated edge, but it is quite sweet. And it is powerful. It packs a punch. Lasts a long time, projects like a monster. And this stuff packs a punch, which you would expect for a 1 million, right? I mean, most of them are pretty strong. This one is. And it's one of the better 1 millions out there, especially for cool weather or evening use. I think that's right up toward the very top at this point. Let's go with the Y up next. We just talked about a great elixir, so I figure we gotta work in Y Le Parfum, not Y elixir, no. It doesn't smell bad. I'm not saying that, but that price needs, for me anyway, to come down a bit more. I know it's already at discounters, but a bit more. Because if I can get at a discounter Y Le Parfum in a bigger bottle for less money than Y Elixir in a smaller bottle, I'm going for this all day, every day. Y Le Parfum is a banger. Now, of course, Y Eau de Parfum is the most popular in the line, but this stuff right here can hang with it all day. It's similar to Y Eau de Parfum in a lot of ways. Of course, it's in Y, right? It's in the Y line, I mean, so it makes sense. But this one, a little more aromatic, still has that sweetness in there, that really appealing sweetness, just not quite as heavy-handed, a little more mature, but still has a playful edge to it and a little sophistication with it as well. Also, great performance. Once again, big, big, big compliment puller, which again, it's a Y fragrance. Like that kind of goes without saying, right? And for a lot of people, this is the top. This is the best Y for a bunch of guys out there. Y Eau de Parfum, like I said, most popular, but this, it's just as good. I'm gonna go next with this one, Scandal Absolute. I'm glad I didn't drop that. I've talked about this a little bit ever since it came out. One of my favorite new releases of the year so far. You can find it at Harrods as of this video if you're in the US, but you know, you gotta pay for shipping and everything, but at least you can find it. But man, this stuff, it's really good right off the rip. First time I smelled it, I really dug it. But I'll tell you, today, I like it more. I am waiting for fall. Well, actually, I'm really not. I'm looking forward to summer, but when fall comes back around, I'll be wearing this. Acting like I'm ready for summer to be over. It hasn't even really started yet. I'm like, I'm ready for fall. No, I need some summertime, okay? But when it cools back down. So that has Mirabelle Plum, it has Chestnut and Sandalwood. You know, it's that 3-note note breakdown. Overly simple, but I do not care. That stuff is ultra addictive. And the chestnut, I think, is perfectly done because it doesn't go too far into stronger with you territory. I know I've brought that up a few times, but it does not go too far over into that territory. The sweetness off the top with the Mirabelle is awesome. It is just ultra appealing, intoxicating, addictive, whatever you want to say. This you want to wear just all the time. Problem is right now it's heating up a pretty good amount, and this is not made for the high heat situations. In the evening, I would wear this because I just like it that much, but I'm telling you, when it cools down. Scandal and Scandal Le Parfum have always been fragrances that, for me, kind of punch outside their weight class, just as far as that whole compliment factor, that mass appeal, because they don't get mentioned as often as a lot of other fragrances, but they're just as good, if not better, than those fragrances that get mentioned more. And this one is my favorite right now. I would take that one over the original and over Le Parfum, which are both really, really good, but something about that. I keep talking about it, so Stronger with You. All right, let's keep it moving. No, I'm just playing. Stronger with You Intensely. Really, you could go with a lot of Stronger with Yous here. The original, Intensely, Absolutely, Oud, Leather, even Amber, Tobacco, any of those. One reason for that is Stronger with You fragrances, while yes, there are changes between those flankers, it's not like they are astronomically different. It's a fragrance line that really stays true to what the DNA of that fragrance line is. Some fragrance lines don't do that. Some will have flankers that come out and it's just kind of all over the place. You don't ever really know what you're gonna get. But Stronger with You keeps everything like you know it's a Stronger with You. First time you smell it. You can smell it blind and be like, smells like is that Stronger with You? Oh, it is, yep. Really sweet. It's got toffee in there. That's vanilla, tonka, cinnamon, and also a little amber as well. So yeah, just a lot of sweet, warm notes, big performance once again. A lot of these have big performance. If you're going on a date, you're wearing a fragrance like this one, for example, you really want to take into account where you're going, what you're doing. If you have a really, really strong fragrance on, you're going to a really nice restaurant or something like that, don't go real heavy. That will be to your detriment, actually. You know, if you're going out to a nice restaurant, you've got on a really strong scent and you blast yourself 12 times with it, that's not gonna be very nice. Because you gotta think about that from the other person's perspective, put yourself in their shoes, right? If they had on a fragrance, even if it smelled pretty good, but it was too strong and you're trying to eat your meal or whatever, drink your wine, and that fragrance is just completely overwhelming you, that's not gonna be very good. So keep that in mind. Even if these might be perfect for a date situation, that's dependent on how much you spray on, like knowing the fragrance, and again, where you're going, what you're doing. Maybe there are some situations where more sprays make sense, but there are a lot of situations where less sprays make sense. Play to your strengths here. Up next, Le Male Le Parfum. This is a bad Le Male Le Parfum, a great modernized take. That's the correct way to spray, by the way. Actually, don't spray like that. It's all over my hands now. Fragrances are not meant to be worn on the inside of your hands. Outside is okay, inside. Really lovely take on the Le Male DNA. Love the vanilla in here, the oriental notes, really well done. Nice warmth again, spiciness, touch of iris around the edges of the fragrance, gives it a nice elegance. A little bit powdery, but not too much. I'm also a huge fan of the elixir. I think that that one is extremely well done. I know that I typically gravitate toward the elixir nowadays, but anytime I go back and smell this, I'm like, oh, it's just as good. And this one would be good in more casual and more formal situations. So with this, gentlemen, Reserve Privé. Since we had iris in the last fragrance, gotta have iris in this one too, right? Iris, boozy notes, a little bit of nuttiness as well. Ooh. It's good. I really like Gentleman Society and Gentleman Society Extreme both, but I don't know, when I go back and smell this one, I'm like, I still like that more. Slight like touch of a gourmandy, boozy edge that it has really takes this to the next level for me. If it's a more formal situation and you like iris a good amount and you know that, then the eau de parfum would work really well too. But Reserve Privé, I think for me, in this context, that's gotta be the one. Let's finish it up with the scent Magnetic. It's in the name, magnetic. This one is quite unique, actually, and has a really intriguing sweetness to it. Ooh, I like that. I like it a lot, actually. Definitely doesn't smell like stronger with you type scent. So if you did want something that's a little bit removed from what's really popular right now as far as, you know, those evening scents, those powerful fall and wintertime evening scents, you could go with something like this and it's gonna give you a very different vibe. That being said, it does still have vanilla. So if you were trying to escape that, you will not escape it here. But it also has notes of Maninka, which gives it a very different, exotic, fruity, slightly dusty feel in the opening, mixing together with that vanilla. And then you have bran as one of the other notes, which I always love to point out because how many fragrances have bran? So the Scent Magnetic, gotta go with this one. Really, really, really good stuff. And honestly, the scent, at least in the US, is not massively popular compared to some of the other things up here. All right, guys, that'll do it for me. Thank you for hanging with me. Stay safe out there. I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys later.